let's settle in. Welcome to our meditation time. I would invite you just to get comfortable. Just allow the eyes to close if that feels right, or just soften your gaze. Just find a way to really settle that honors exactly what you need in this moment. And as we're settling in, on the cusp of this spring equinox, which is just around the corner this week, what I'd really invite us to do is just ground ourselves down. This equinox is a time of reflecting, of letting go, of looking toward growth and renewal. But it has to start from a place of grounding. So really just allow yourself just to root, whether you are seated or lying down, whatever that looks like. Just feel the support of where you are. And this week, as we travel through the Yoga Sutras and we understand what's happening to us energetically through the spring equinox, let's do it from a place of grounding, a place of feeling secure and stable, no matter what it is in life that's going on. Some of us are walking very difficult paths right now. Some have just come through that, and some of us, it's just a matter of time till our next challenge comes, which just makes this grounding practice so much more important. So just settle in with a couple deep breaths here, just slowly in through the nose and out through the nose. And in through the nose and out through the nose. And let that allow you to come into a pace of breath that feels good. And we are on this journey through the sutras, looking at the 8 limbs of yoga. And as we settle in to these 8 limbs that offer us these beautiful tools of how to live and how to practice, today we'll start to look at the ones that are practical, that are about our outer environment, and then eventually they will inspire and inform how we work with our inner environment. And so the first 5 of these 8, these outer world limbs, they really are about our interactions, how we interact with the world, how we interact with ourselves, how we interact with the body, how we interact with the breath, and how we interact with these senses, and how we respond to those interactions. And so what I'd like today to be is a time of reflection, so that as we sit with each of these limbs in the coming days, we'll do it from a place of deep reflection, of really understanding and taking stock of how things are now, envisioning how we want them to be going forward. The Yoga Sutras do not create a list of rules for us. These 8 limbs are not things that we follow and check off. They are guideposts for living. And as we sit with these and we reflect on them, they were never meant to be something that we master. They were meant to be how we move through the world. That's why I like thinking about them as interactions. And so the first yoga limb, these yamas, it's how we interact with the world. And so what I'd ask each of us to do for these next few breaths is just think about your relationships in the world. What's the state of the ones that are most important to you? The professional ones, the personal ones, the familial ones. What's the state of your relationship with the planet and the earth? So how do you interact with these people and this earth as you go through your everyday habits and routines and schedules? So just take stock here. How do you interact with the world? And as you see that and you take a little stock and you reflect on it, are those interactions with the world, with your relationships, with your people, with your colleagues, with the planet, are they at the level that you would wish them to be? It's not about the other person. It's not about the situations. I'm asking about our heart and our intention. Are your interactions with the world the way that you want them to be? Are you showing up as the most authentic, beautiful version of yourself with each relationship that you have? And as we sit with the yamas in the coming days, hopefully we'll shore those relationships up just a bit. We'll begin to watch how we move through our day. Watch the impact that our footprints have on people's lives, on the planet. And we'll let what we notice inspire us to continue to do better and better and better. And so the next one, the niyamas. Let's take stock for these next few breaths. What is the state of your relationship with yourself? Your interactions with you? Are you kind and gentle and compassionate to yourself? Or are you hard and unforgiving? Or is it a little bit of both? Just take stock as you breathe here. And are your reactions and your interactions with yourself at the level that you want them to be? How do you react when you make a mistake? How do you interact with yourself when you maybe haven't met an expectation that you'd set? How do you react when the self tells you that you're tired? How loving, how compassionate are you toward you? And then again, as we sit with these niyamas, we're going to just continue to think about making this interaction with ourselves better and better and better until it gets to a place where, just like with the world, the footprints that we leave on our own heart are compassionate and gentle and kind. And then there's asana, these movements of the body, these postures. What are your interactions with your body? Do you treat it with gentleness, with encouragement, with consistency of practice? Do you let it hold on to stress and tension, or do you have a way to let it go? What is the current state of your interactions with your body? See it. And then again, as we sit with asana in the coming days, the more we become aware, the more we reflect, again, just like the others, getting better and better about how we interact with our body. And then there's pranayama, your breath. How you control it, how you restrain it, how you utilize it. How often do you notice the breath? How often beyond meditation and yoga in times of crisis do you notice the breath? Are you in a place where you truly value and honor at each breath in, or are you in a spot where it's forgotten? It's taken for granted until we realize how much we need it. That's why it's got an entire limb all of its own to just let us sit with this idea of we interact with that breath. We see it, we feel it, we honor it. And so in the coming days, we'll work on our interactions with the breath. And just like the others, Let those interactions become better and better until the breath is just this vital part of who we are, not something that just happens involuntarily. And then the fifth of these five, these outer world limbs, those senses. What is the state of your sensory world? I know that we feel and we see and we taste and we smell and we hear. But are the senses that something that keeps you aware, keeps you alive and just interacting with the world, or are they something that lead you astray, that create attachment or distractions? Or maybe it's a little bit of both. What are your interactions with those senses? And just like the others, the more we know, the more we become aware. We will get better and better at first recognizing these sensory stimuli coming in, and then understanding how to recognize them, how to feel them, and how not to attach to them. And so Patanjali gave us these limbs. He started off with these outer world ones, and he said, I want you to live a life where you calm the fluctuations of your mind every day. I want you to live a life where you feel peace and ease as you move through each hour, each minute. And I'm going to give you the tools to do that. I'm not going to give you a list of rules and regulations and things that you should not do, but rather, I'm going to give you ways to engage with this world, including yourself, that are healthy, that are vibrant, and most of all, maybe the most important word of all, that are sustainable. I'm going to give you ways to interact with the world, with yourself, with your body, with your breath, and with your senses so that you feel whole and so that you are truly ready for the inner world work. And so as we just pause here, just think what a gift these sutras are, these limbs. Most of us have lived a life growing up, and whatever that looked like for each of us, where there were rules of what you can do and what you cannot do, and what you should do and what you should not do. And the beautiful thing about these limbs is that they're not either of those. They are resources to help us show up as this full, authentic version of us. They are truly ways for us to interact with life. And so I encourage us to approach them that way. We're not looking for a parameter of how often to move our body and in what ways, or which ways to breathe are best, and which interactions with our relationships should we do and shouldn't we do, but rather, how do we show up the most full version of us in a way that every footstep we take on the earth, in our relationships with ourselves, are rooted in compassion and love and grace and kindness. As someone who has studied the 8 limbs for a long, long time, that is what I hope you take away in the coming days. Not a set of rules, not a set of do's and don'ts, but resources that help you to interact in vibrant ways in your world. So as we pause across just the next couple of minutes of quiet, sit with yourself. See what thoughts come up. Notice. Let's make this practice today just one of just awareness. Being aware of the state of things currently, and then seeing the state of how things can be. It's not something out of reach. These tools are right here. First, understand, be aware of the state of all your interactions right here and now, and see how you'd like them to be going forward. Continue to breathe and continue to ground into that spot where you are. And just notice. And as you continue to breathe, just reflect for these next few breaths. Just what do you see when you hear the word interaction? What do you see? How does it look? Is it active? Is there effort being made? I want us to see this practice as something truly active. It's not passive. It's not a set of spiritual precepts that we just have to learn and memorize. It is a way to show up in life. And if we'll enter these studies, we'll enter these sutras with that idea, we truly will be able to show up in all the parts of life, every interaction that we have, from the world to our people to ourselves. And those interactions will honor exactly what this practice offers every single day. Peace, calm, harmony, grounding. All the things that the world is seeking. And what Patanjali tells us is that every tool we need is already within us. So I hope that you will anticipate sitting with these in the coming days. Look forward to just sharpening up your tools, adding more tools to your toolbox, and showing up and interacting with this world in a way that only you can, vibrantly, filled with love and filled with light. Namaste.